So hello, I was away on vacation. I hope you didn't miss me too much, and that last week in August anyway. And then I just started school this week. I'm now a paralegal student, and the reading that's assigned is pretty intense. So there will be less videos. It's just how we're gonna have to roll. But I did want to invite you in a little bit of studying that I'm doing for tomorrow's criminal justice class. The assigned reading is chapter 1, like you do the first week of class. And all my other classes are really cool. I really like it. I immediately feel like I'm learning skills where in my psychology program it was more of like, let's think about this and, intellectualize our heart's extent. With this paralegal program, I feel like I really am able to dive right into it and learn how to read cases and pull the information that's necessary and how to do all sorts of kinds of things. However, my criminal justice class is the one class that is taught by another professor. I go to a small enough college that all my classes, with the exception of my word processing thing, which of course is a different thing, but is taught by the same professor. Same classroom. We have a designated classroom. Only the paralegal students have it. So it's very cool. We have all sorts of books everywhere that we can check out. And but this other one is taught by an ex police chief and did a lot of stuff in law enforcement. And I just wanted to show you this. You guys that have been around for a while might remember a video I did on the dictionary on my MacBook, and those of you with MacBooks were able to follow along in, I think it was the American Webster's, something like that, American Heritage maybe, I forget. But the point of that was kind of like me being, what's the word? Paranoid. And reading into a couple of these definitions such that I was finding them not to be perfectly objective, that they might have been actually, there was employed more rhetoric than necessary to get the definition across, such that I came to the conclusion that perhaps someone was trying to persuade the reader through merely dictionary definitions. And persuasion is not what a dictionary does. A dictionary just simply says what a word means rather than try to impose some kind of ideology. But for those of you who like that kind of thing, follow me now in a very overpriced book. Ta-da! So I don't expect you to buy it, obviously, but it's Criminal Justice Today, an introductory text for the 21st century, 11th edition, Frank Schmalleger. I don't know, I'll put it all in the box down there. Who was an idiot and bought this for $150 when he could have bought it for only $100 on Amazon? Oh, that's me. Yes. I suggest to all you guys starting school to do that because university bookstores across the nation are notorious for that kind of thing. But anyway, so I'm reading chapter 1, just skimming through it. I'm already pissed off at the book. We have in the first chapter already touched on the law, or the war on drugs, the Patriot Act, and a dichotomy that the book poses is the actual theme of the entire book, where it puts individual rights and public order in competition with themselves. And the caption goes, balancing the concern of individual rights with the need for public order through the administration of criminal justice is the theme of this book. And they give us this nice little graphic down here where we have individual rights, and on the other end we have public order, which is to suppose, if I'm reading this correctly, that with more individual rights you're going to have less public order. And I guess if it's a balance, it'd be the other way around, wouldn't it? But if you want more public order, you just have to sacrifice those individual rights. This happens on page 12, and I forget exactly where the chapter begins, but it's only a few pages before. And it had me reeling here in my little, well, it's my new apartment. There it is. It's a white wall, so the rest of you, but it's a new apartment to me. Are we to assume that individual rights are always going to be in competition with public order? it would seem to me anyway that if individual rights are secured, say your individual rights, my individual rights, everyone else's individual rights are equally secured, then public order is only going to be a byproduct, merely a byproduct of that kind of security. To suppose that the only way we get public order is if you have less individual rights seems a bit bizarre. Now, I would be able to pass this off as saying that maybe I'm just being paranoid, but it gets better. 2, 3 pages in. Oh, here we go. A few more pages. They give us a nice picture. I hate textbooks these days. I hate them. I'll show you a book that I like from one of my classes, and you'll see why. But big, colorful bullshit. I don't like it. In fact, this $150 book, they can't even get this picture in focus, which, of course, you couldn't tell on this anyway. Just take my word for it. But anyway, what we have here is an inmate, it looks like, and a lawyer in front of a judge. You all see that? The caption is as follows. A criminal defendant at a preliminary hearing. Everyone facing criminal prosecution in the United States is guaranteed a constitutional right to due process, meaning that defendants must be afforded a fair opportunity to participate in every stage of criminal proceedings should due process. And then it ends with this question. This is what got me. Should due process rights extend to all offenders? Dash, even accused terrorists? Why is that even a question in a book, in an introductory book? Why? Why? Let's think about this. What are the two options here? We can say yes or we can say no. Okay? If we say yes, the matter is put to bed. If we say no, we have to be a little bit more specific. Let's take, for example, that, just for sake of argument, that in the case of accusations of terrorism, those individuals, the accused, should not receive due process, right? Because that's our other option to this question. Where does that lead? Well, first, remember we're talking about accused terrorists, not proven terrorists. The only way you can prove it, at least in civil procedure, is to go to trial, which is what we're actually in question here, because we're questioning as to whether or not these people get due process, meaning the process of law, where you're represented in court, you have a lawyer, you get all the facts presented towards an impartial judge, a jury if necessary or if called for, and so on and so on and so on. And at the end of that, there would be a holding or a finding of the court where it is determined what exactly is to be, or what is the case in that given situation. Until that comes about, all we're working on is the accusation of being a terrorist. So who gives that accusation? Well, I could accuse you of being a terrorist, you could accuse me of being a terrorist, but neither of that would get us to court. But if you were a law enforcement officer and arrested me because of, I don't know, you had probable cause or whatever phraseology a statute like that might employ, you accuse me of being a terrorist, put me under arrest. Now we're in a situation that because of your discretion as a law enforcement officer, you have the ability to deny me due process merely on what you accuse me of being. Tremendous power in the hands, and unreasonable power, if you ask me, in the hands of the law enforcement officer. Why would that even be a question in an introductory text? Don't know. Oh, but it gets better. Gets even better. Oh, let's see. Flip one in. David Hume is quoted. Okay, so before I go forward, this is the book that I like, at least at the moment anyway. You know you're in trouble when you have to get all these little stupid things. And I'm not a person that does these little things. These are required. And you find out quickly why. This gargantuan monstrosity is the Student's Guide to Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, which is not very sexy at all. It's very, very dry, very, very boring. But you notice that I just flipped to Rule 66. What is that? Injunctions and restraining orders. And there they all are. You have examples. You have you go into detail about the rules. This is the rule itself. It's the statute. It's statute. Is that, am I even saying that right? Yeah, statute. God, first week back to school. My mind is all a mix. But anyway, it's right there. It's straightforward. You don't get all these little colorful bullshit things that you get in a lot of textbooks these days. I hate it. Well, one thing that this criminal justice book does is put in little blurbs that are essentially unrelated to anything being talked about at that given point in the chapter. Okay? So, for example, this David Hume quote, it's just, there it is. Just, all because we think you should know this. So what is David Hume? Right? Coming from me, you can assume I was raising an eyebrow. But David Hume, what does David Hume have to say about society? Well, he says, liberty is the perfection of civil society, but still authority must be acknowledged essential to its very existence. Puts David Hume in a particular light. Oh, and on the next page, again, now remember here, what we're talking about actually in the chapter is just due process and individual rights. It gives a little fleshing out of the individual rights guaranteed by the Bill of Rights, stuff like right to an attorney, innocent till proven guilty, cross-examine prosecution witness, due process, speedy trial, no excessive bail, that all that stuff. Alongside that is more or less the unrelated blurb of this. Did you know? It says, African American men comprise less than 6% of the U.S. population and almost 1/2 of the criminal population. 1/2 of its criminal prisoners. Get the quote right. I'll put these quotes in the box as well, since now that I'm thinking law, I don't want to be taken out of context. So what I mean to quote is in the box as it is typed. Fascinating that they think we ought to know that African Americans are both comprise less than 6% of the overall population and more than half of our criminal prisoners. Well, thank you. I feel inspired by knowing that. Let's see. Then it puts into competition two models, two theoretical models, the crime control model, meaning the criminal justice perspective that emphasizes the efficient arrest and conviction of criminal offenders versus the due process model. Like we're interested in that. Which says a criminal justice perspective, or is a criminal justice perspective that emphasizes individual rights at all stages of justice system proceedings. Again, weird dichotomies, weird stuff that I never thought I would come across. And what else do we got here? Oh, a quote by former U.S. Attorney General Alberto Gonzales. What does he have to say? Without security, government cannot deliver, nor can the people enjoy the prosperity and opportunities that flow from freedom and democracy. Okay. I'm inspired. Are you? Oh, that's the end of the book. Great. The end of the chapter. All my other classes are marvelous, though. I really like them. But that's creepy. It creeps me out. Let me know if it creeps you out as well. I didn't actually know that was the end of the chapter, so I guess I'm done studying tonight. Hope you guys have all been well. I hope those of you who didn't miss me are cringing that I am back. I hope that those of you who did miss me are relieved that I am back. And I apologize for the fact that I won't be able to make many videos just because of the workload. It is pretty tremendous. I wish I could, well, maybe I won't show you. Lots of books, and then lots of handouts. C'est la vie. All right. Take care, guys.